Good day, everyone. I'm David Theed. I'm the Division Commander for 14 TAC 25 out of New London, Connecticut. So today I'll be talking to you about PPE inspections for surface operations. At the end of the video, I'll put links to the D1SR website where you can find all the information on these inspection cards. And I also will have screenshots of the PPE inspection documents that you'll need. Okay, first of all, we're going to use card KB0065.0. It is how to inspect PFD, personal flotation device, and it's read along and follow through. The main points, we're going to be looking for missing or worn reflective tape, loose stitching, seam separation, and cuts and tears in the overall PFD. So again, that's card KB0065.0. This is the typical PFD that auxiliaries wear. Some people wear the mesh that goes from the breastplate up to the shoulders, and then in the back it's also mesh. I personally don't like those. I changed into them, wore it for a season, and I went back to the full PFD. The mesh type might be a little bit cooler, but I didn't care for the extra bulk around the waist, especially after you put the SAR vest on. Both of those are recognized as appropriate gear. So the first thing you want to do is check overall the condition of the outside of your vest for any rips, tears, deep stains, things like that. All right. If your PFD looks pretty good, the next thing you want to look for is reflective tape. Depending on your PFD will depend on where the tape is, but make sure it's not coming apart, not rolled off, not faded, scratched. And then there should be a nice big one on the back also. Your PFD should say United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Once that is all done, I like to check the zipper. All right, should unzip very easy. All right, the next thing you're going to check for is seams. Start at the stress points, which would be the shoulders. Check the seams, make sure there's no stitching coming apart. Look on the inside. Make sure there's no stitching coming apart. Give it a little pull test. Do each shoulder. The next points are where the webbing is sewn into your PFD. Look for loose stitching, both inside and outside. Give it a little pull test. All right. Check your claps. Make sure they are not cracked. Make sure you do both sides. Looking at the seams inside, outside, give it a little pull. Once those are sufficient, make a check all the way around your PFD seams, right? And you're looking for separations anywhere where you might have to need repair, and especially look at your zipper seam. Make sure your zipper seam is intact, both sides. And the last thing to check is any of your attachments. Even though they're under your SAR vest, you might need them someday for something. So check those out. And last but not least, your name or ID number should be under the right breast flap. And that's your PFD. Okay, the SAR vest card. Now this is not a video on how to build a SAR vest. That's more complicated. There's certain types of knots you need on your lanyards. There's a certain distance from knot to knot on your lanyards. But actually by inspecting, we'll be covering most of how to build one. But this is not what that video is about today. So the overall SAR vest, you're going to look at card KB0048.0, And what's nice is it gives you a picture of the SAR vest and all the pockets that the gear needs to go in. So even though we're not building a SAR vest, you're just inspecting it, make sure when you're inspecting it that these items are in the correct pockets. This is how you build the SAR vest, per specs. So the first thing with the SAR vest is going to be exactly the same thing we did the PFD. You're going to take an overall look, making sure there's no rips, tears, things like that. You're going to check reflective tape. And don't forget the front ones. All right, reflective tape here and here. All right, and again, you're going to look at the seams. Look at front and back of your seams. And look at your zipper seams. Look at your side seams. All right, inside and out. Both sides. Look at where, just like the PFD, look at where your web belt connects and check your buckles for cracks. All right. You should have an issued SAR vest that says U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. All right. The rest of the vest we'll inspect as we're inspecting the gear, since we have to open up each and every pocket. Okay, the next is to inspect the gear, which is pretty easy to do. The card you're going to be looking for is KB0107.0. So the first thing on the card is we're going to inspect the signal whistle. And it's probably easier for me to put the vest on. So you can see where the pockets are. And also just make it easier for me to look at in the video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is inspect the whistle. Right? Whistle lives in your bottom right pouch. Here's your lanyard. Here's your whistle. All right. First thing with the whistle, most whistles, I don't know if you can see this, most whistles come with a little key ring. Right? And then the lanyard that comes with the whistle is attached not to the whistle, it's attached to the key ring. Well, whoever built your vest should have taken that key ring off and tied the lanyard directly to the whistle. Very important. So whistle's pretty basic. You're just going to look at the seams, make sure there's no cracks, make sure there's no gunk in there. And then you're going to test it. So this might be a little loud. Very nice. Inspect your lanyard, make sure there's no cuts. The only other thing that lives in this pocket is the end of your man overboard rope that you're going to tie to the next shipmate. So I put that in the pocket first. I put the whistle over it because hopefully I'll need the whistle before I need the man overboard web. The next thing, according to the card, is inspect your strobe light, which is number B, and number C is inspect your personal marker light. Most of you should have been issued a strobe light. Some of you may have a constant on personal marker light. Inspection is the same for both. Both of those live in your upper right pouch. And again, while it's out, check the lanyard. All right. What's very important at the beginning of the season, you should have fresh batteries put in. I need my glasses for this. So install fresh batteries and then test your beacon. And if you have a constant on, obviously when you test it, it'll just stay on permanently. But most of you should have the flasher. Again, check all your seams, make sure there's no cracks in it. Check to make sure your lanyard is on securely. One thing I should mention is, most importantly, is check your Velcro, make sure it's not peeled and rolling off, because this, when you activate it, goes right on your vest. All right. So very important, make sure that Velcro is intact, not only on your personal marker beacon, strobe light, but the Velcro on your vest is intact. Okay, the next thing to inspect, if you're following the card, which is the easiest thing to do, is you're going to inspect your PLB, personal locator beacon. That lives in the larger left-hand lower part. Now I keep mine in the little floaty. Again, check your lanyards while you're doing it. So I have the lanyard hooked directly to the PLB, but I still kept the little floaty and the strap, right? So your lanyard should not be connected to your strap. Your lanyard should be connected directly to the PLB, right? Depending on what type you have, this is a Fastfind 220. There are 2 or 3 different types. So in your pouch, at least to the people that I have issued, I have kept the directions in the pouch along with the PLB. So if yours is different, check your instructions. The only thing with this PLB is this button is very hard to push. Some people might even need a pencil, like the eraser side, to really hit this button. So you really push this in, and then you're going to see it gives you your flashes. And the number of flashes, again, it tells you on your inspection sheet for each different one what those flashes mean. So this is good. You should do this the first day of each month. Okay, the next item on the card is your mirror. Pretty basic. That also lives in your upper right pocket along with your personal marker light or strobe light. Again, check your lanyards. I keep mine in a little plastic bag, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So pretty basic. Check your lanyards. Check to make sure there's no scratches, front or back. The back has the instructions, right? Most of you should have the ACR see-through, and there's a little hole you can look through there, and as you're looking at whoever you hope is going to rescue you, you can flash them. The reason why I put it in a plastic bag is because what I like to do is, since it lives in the same pocket as the strobe light, I put the back side facing forward, and then my strobe light goes on top of that, so I'm not scratching the reflective part. If anything scratches, it's the back place. And the last thing we're going to do is inspect our knife. Knife obviously lives in the knife pouch. Check the snaps, right? Make sure they're attached, and both to the pull strap and, most importantly, your SAR vest. Right? Make sure that clip isn't pulling away. So it comes down. The scabbard should be tied to your SAR vest. The scabbard should not be loose. Right? Pull that out, and again, with all your gear, right, you're going to check your lanyard, you're going to check your nuts. This is a standard issued SAR knife. It comes with a blunt tip, so you don't accidentally stab anything important, like a life raft. It has a very sharp edge, and it has serrated edges and a line cutter. All right. Check the handle, check the seams, make sure it's not coming apart. All right. If you have a different type of knife, it should pretty much be the same thing. It has to have a blunt tip no matter what knife you have. All right. What they recommend on the card is, when you inspect this, to wipe it down with a little WD-40. What I like to do is I'll spray a little WD-40 on a rag, and then I'll use that rag to wipe it on, and then another part of the rag just to wipe it dry. That keeps your knife looking nice, no rust spots on this one. This is probably 6 years old, and there's not a little bit of rust on it. And that's it for your basic SAR vest. Some of you may be wondering what this little tiny carabiner is for. What I have is a watch that's usually hooked on the loop of my belt, but when we get underway, I take it from my belt and I clip it on my zipper. That way I always have to look down, and there's the time. What's nice about this watch is not only does it tell time, but it has a stopwatch, and it also has the weather on it. So it has a barometer. I can see if the pressure is dropping, which may indicate some bad weather coming in. So I like this particular one. I picked it up at EMS, Eastern Mountain Sports, but any you can get them anywhere, right? So that's where that lives when I'm underway. So here we are on the district website. As you can see, it's d1ops.org, d1ops.org. This is the main page. A lot of good information on here. Today we'll only be concerned with PPE inspection. This page has all the information you're going to need as a safety officer for either your division or your flotilla. It starts off with the inspection procedure guide. Lots of good information in there on how to build your SAR vests. The Rescue and Survival Systems Manual. The latest All Coast. Appendix C, which is your equipment gear. This one is pre-typed out. It is you can download it right from here to print it out. This will be filled out by your safety officer when you are first issued gear. The only time this is updated is if you make a change. If you switch out some piece of gear, it's recorded here. But it's the date you were issued, what piece of gear you were issued, division, flotilla, your ID, and your signature. So every one of you that has been issued gear should have had one of these filled out. Okay. So Appendix A is your standard equipment. This form will be used for each piece of your gear. So you'll need one for your PFD, one for your SAR vest, one for your knife, whistle, all your gear. The serial numbers for your gear should be your initials with a number. So my PFD is DWT TAC 01, my knife is DWT TAC 02, and so on. This is an annual inspection, so you'll circle A, and it's made for a multi-year. So date, circle A, your signature. Inspection facility, just put in there D TAC 25, and remarks would be pass or fail. Obviously, if it fails, you're going to need a new piece of gear. One thing I do have to say about this form is I've made an individual form for PLBs because there's a lot of information I need when I register your PLB with NOAA. So it's the same thing, item number, model, in-service date. Initially it's an annual inspection when I inspect it, but yours will be a monthly inspection. Your name, the UIN number, the PLB battery date, contact, and phone. So this is separate only for your PLB. This is made out each year because I need to know if any of this information has changed. If you want to use this form, just email me directly and I will email it to you, no problem. You can email me at thiede.cgaux@gmail.com. Appendix A, cold weather gear, we're not worried about right now. NOAA registration. In D25, I'm the only one who registers PLB, so this is just mine and it's password protected. This is what we're looking for. Updated MC cards. So this is password protected. And the first card we used was number 65, KB0065.0, type 1, 2, or 3. Okay, and again, the card number is always in the upper right hand corner. Tells you what you're inspecting with this card, gives you references, gives you the tools, expendables, consumables. Number A, inspect the PFD, gives you warnings, gives you notes how to do it, tells you exactly how to do it, just like we went through in the video. All right, the only difference is B. We do not attach any equipment to our PFDs anymore. So you'll skip B. We will come down to page 4 is where we're going to start. Section 2A, inspect PFD. The next card we used was just for the vest, which is KB0048.0. This is how to inspect the vest, and this is how to build the vest. We're not going to go over that because this is not how to build the vest. This is just how to inspect the vest. If you are a safety officer and you're building a vest from scratch, this is the card you need to do that. So we're going to go down to page 6 right here. And the only reason I like this is because it shows you exactly where all your gear lives. Only difference is number 3, we do not have MK TAC 79 kits, and number 5, we do not have MK TAC 124 kits. The last card you'll need is KB0107.0, and this card tells you how to do everything we did in the video. Gives you your warnings, how to do it, inspect the whistle, inspect the strobe light, inspect the personal marker light, inspect the personal locator beacon,
E, forget about, we do not have pyrotechnics. There's your signal mirror and your knife, and a continuation of how to inspect your knife. This is the page where all your cards live, and this is the main page, how you get to those cards. Well, I hope this video was informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me via email, or if you're on Slack, you can contact me on the Slack communications website. All right, thank you and good day.